It was a calm Monday evening, the kind where everything feels peaceful and ordinary. John and Michelle Stevens were relaxing in their open garage, enjoying the quiet as the day came to an end. A few miles away, a young man named Austin Harroff was dealing with something no one could fully understand, his thoughts spiraling out of control. What seemed like a normal night was about to take a dark and unexpected turn. What happened next would leave everyone asking the same question: how could this have happened? John Joseph Stevens was born on July 2, 1957, in the sunny state of Florida. Raised in a devout Catholic household by his parents, Helen and Jack Stevens, John grew up in an environment that emphasized faith, love, and kindness. Alongside his siblings, he spent his early years in Miami, where he graduated from Killian Senior High School. An avid amateur boxer with a passion for fishing, John also proudly served in the United States Air Force. As an adult, John pursued a career in landscaping. Though his first marriage ended in divorce, it brought him his greatest treasures: his children, Ivy and John Jr., affectionately called Junior by everyone who knew him. Despite the challenges in his personal life, the mid-1990s marked a turning point for John when he met Michelle, the woman who would change his life forever. Michelle, born on March 14, 1963, was the eldest daughter of Patricia and Jeffrey. She grew up in a close-knit family with her siblings Cindy, Jody, Greg, and Mason. Her family was well known in their community, partly due to Jeffrey's role as mayor of North Miami Beach. Michelle's striking freckled face and auburn hair, combined with her warm personality, earned her many friends and admirers during her years at North Miami Beach Senior High. After graduating from college and moving past her own brief first marriage, Michelle crossed paths with John as she embarked on her professional journey. Their connection was instantaneous. In June 1997, they exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony filled with emotion and hope for the future. During his wedding toast, John expressed how the prospect of their new life together overwhelmed him with joy. Michelle, looking into his eyes, called her love for him a rebirth into a richer, fuller life. Tragedy struck just a month later when Michelle's mother, Patricia, passed away at the age of 53 due to a heart attack, later attributed to the use of a popular combination of diet medications. Despite this loss, John and Michelle built a life together in a thriving neighborhood north of Palm Beach, Florida. They worked hard to secure a comfortable future. John left his job to start his own landscaping business, operating it from their home, while Michelle flourished in the financial industry. She played a pivotal role in the growth of Striano Financial Group in Boca Raton, earning the admiration of her colleagues for her guidance and generosity. She frequently encouraged her co-workers to participate in charitable causes, reflecting her caring nature. In his free time, John loved boating and fishing, often accompanied by Junior, his eldest son. Junior fondly described his father as an old soul who enjoyed reading newspapers and reminiscing about Miami's changing landscape. Their car rides were filled with stories of the city's history and life lessons, with John often reminding his son that true success lay in being kind to others. At home, John and Michelle transformed their garage into a cozy living space where they entertained friends and family, creating countless cherished memories. By 2015, the couple had achieved their dream of retiring, settling into a peaceful and fulfilling life. Known for their warmth and generosity, they became beloved figures in their community. One of John's favorite pastimes was driving his golf cart around the neighborhood with their dog, who was considered a third child in their family. But the activity that brought John and Michelle the most joy was deep-sea fishing. Their social media was filled with photos of them aboard their boat, proudly holding their impressive catches. As for Junior, a Marine Corps veteran who served in Iraq, John couldn't have been prouder of the man his son had become. Shortly after moving to Kansas following her marriage, Ivy brought immense joy to her father, John, by sharing the news that he was about to become a grandfather. Back at home, Michelle and John had transformed their once chaotic garage into a cozy and welcoming lounge. Outfitted with a flat-screen TV and 3 comfortable sofas, the space became a hub for casual gatherings. The open door was a clear sign that anyone passing by was welcome to stop in, which often happened. The lounge wasn't just a room, it was a reflection of Michelle and John's laid-back and warm personalities. Equipped with a cigar box, a grill area, an ice machine, and a dartboard, the space embodied their love for relaxation and camaraderie. Its beach-themed decor was a tribute to their shared passion for boating and fishing. This informal sanctuary hosted countless joyous moments, like the impromptu bachelor party John threw for his son's best friend. It wasn't fancy, but it was always inviting and filled with love. Nearby lived a young man named Austin Kelly Hariff, born on December 21, 1996, in Palm Beach, Florida, into a well-off family. The firstborn of Mina and Wade Hariff, a prominent local dentist, Austin grew up alongside his younger sister, Haley. When Austin was around 13, his parents divorced, and he and Haley remained with their mother. In high school, Austin became a robust teenager who played football. His life seemed ordinary, free of legal trouble or any concerning behavior. Coaches often told him to show more aggression on the field, but he was known as a gentle giant, standing 6 feet tall and weighing just over 200 pounds. After graduating, he enrolled in a state university, intending to major in biology. He joined a fraternity and maintained his interest in sports, but he also developed an interest in bodybuilding, which led to brief steroid use. Austin later claimed in social media videos that he had quit using steroids, but his troubles didn't end there. He began abusing alcohol and a range of drugs, including hallucinogenic mushrooms. Around the same time, he started experiencing depressive episodes, though they didn't initially seem severe. By the summer of 2016, at the age of 19, his father convinced him to work at his dental practice to make productive use of his free time and earn some money. During this period, Austin began experiencing delusions of grandeur and hallucinations. Patients at his father's office recalled him claiming to have divine abilities akin to Jesus Christ, even going so far as to bless dental instruments with water. His mental state rapidly declined as he reported hearing voices from God and demons, which fueled his paranoia. Alarmed by his behavior, his parents discussed having him evaluated by mental health professionals, but these plans were never realized. Meanwhile, Michelle and John celebrated their 19th wedding anniversary, reflecting on their enduring love and how incredible it felt to be approaching 2 decades together. They marked the occasion by sharing heartfelt photos, videos, and messages on social media, showcasing their bond that had only grown stronger with time. For those who knew them, Their relationship was an inspiring testament to the power of love and commitment. A week later, at the beginning of August, Junior shared exciting news with his father. He would soon be bringing his 3-month-old daughter to visit, giving John the chance to meet his granddaughter for the first time. The days that followed were filled with eager anticipation and preparations for the special occasion. On the evening of Monday, August 15th, 2016, John and Michelle enjoyed a peaceful stroll under the warm Florida sun, completely unaware of the dark events about to unfold. Meanwhile, not far away, Austin Harif was preparing to have dinner with his father, Wade, and Wade's girlfriend. The voices in Austin's head, however, were relentless, dictating bizarre instructions, including what sports jersey he should wear to feel invincible. Austin followed these commands and left his house feeling an overwhelming sense of power. At the restaurant, his erratic behavior began to escalate. He told his father and others present that he was the embodiment of destiny, sin, and control. The unsettling statements caused tension, and Wade confronted his son, resulting in a heated argument. Without explanation, Austin stormed out of the restaurant. Later, back at home, his mother, Mina, found him consuming a bizarre mixture of cooking oil and Parmesan cheese while muttering incoherently. Alarmed by his increasingly unhinged behavior, Mina begged him to rest, but Austin ignored her pleas and forced his way out of the house. He returned to the restaurant, where security cameras captured him having another argument with his father. Afterward, Austin wandered aimlessly through the night, his eyes wide with terror and his movements mechanical. Unbeknownst to anyone, he was carrying a knife in his pocket. At that same moment, Michelle and John were relaxing in their open garage, enjoying the quiet evening. Suddenly, Austin approached them at great speed and launched a frenzied attack without warning. Wielding the knife, he stabbed Michelle and bit her repeatedly. She collapsed in the garage, fatally injured. The commotion alerted a neighbor, 47-year-old Jeff Fisher, who had been preparing for bed. Rushing to help, Jeff confronted Austin but was also attacked and sustained multiple injuries. Injured, Jeff managed to retreat to his home and call 911. By 9:20 p.m., emergency services were on their way, but the damage had already been done. Austin continued his assault on John, dragging him from the garage to the driveway. Despite John's attempts to defend himself, Austin inflicted deep knife wounds and horrifying bites to his face. John succumbed to his injuries, and Austin began stripping off his clothes and ingesting a chemical he found in the garage. When the police arrived, they found Austin still biting John's face in a nightmarish scene reminiscent of a zombie attack. Even after being ordered to stop and subdued with a stun gun, Austin remained unresponsive. It wasn't until a police officer intervened and bit him that officers managed to restrain him. As he was subdued, Austin pleaded for help and begged the officers to shoot him. Jeff Fisher and Austin were taken to nearby hospitals for treatment, while the lifeless bodies of John and Michelle were transported to the morgue. At the hospital, Austin continued making animalistic sounds, horrifying the medical staff. Unaware of the full extent of the tragedy, Mina called the authorities 2 hours after Austin had left the house. She expressed concern about his strange behavior, mentioning his delusions of immortality and superpowers. She insisted that he had no prior history of mental illness or heavy drug use, making the night's events all the more shocking and tragic. While Austin's mother was still unaware of the horrific actions her son had committed, the loved ones of Michelle and John were plunged into unimaginable grief. Neighbors struggled to comprehend how something so unjust and devastating could happen to a couple they described as warm, kind, and full of life. Ivy recounted in a later interview how, on that Monday night, police officers knocked on her door and informed her of the tragedy. They escorted her to her father's house, a place once filled with love and joy, now the site of an unimaginable crime. Overwhelmed and distraught, Ivy took Rebel, John's beloved dog, to live with her, knowing how much her father cared for him. "He was like a third child to my dad," she explained. The following morning, on August 16, 2016, the police held a press conference to address the events. They provided updates, including news that Jeff Fisher, the neighbor who had rushed to help the couple, was expected to survive despite suffering significant injuries. Regarding the suspect, Austin Haroff, he mentioned that his erratic behavior suggested he might have ingested synthetic stimulants. Junior, John's 28-year-old son, expressed profound gratitude toward Jeff, whom he called a hero, for risking his life to intervene. Junior believed that without Jeff's actions and the subsequent call to authorities, the attacker might have sought additional victims. Austin's family released a statement offering their condolences and expressing their devastation over the pain their son had caused. Despite their grief, they cooperated with authorities, who probed into Austin's medical and mental health history. Detectives sought to determine if he had any prior diagnoses or treatments for mental illness. Toxicology reports revealed traces of alcohol and cannabis, but no other illicit substances in Austin's system. The samples were sent to the FBI for further analysis. By Friday, August 19, 2016, a funeral service for Michelle and John was held in Fort Lauderdale. Michelle's father delivered a heartfelt speech, noting the heartbreaking coincidence that his daughter passed away at 53, the same age as her mother Patricia. Struggling to contain his emotions, he described the couple as two of the most remarkable people he had ever known. Surrounded by floral arrangements and large photos of Michelle and John smiling on a boating trip, friends and family shared memories of the couple. Later, they were laid to rest in a private burial ceremony. Weeks after the incident, Austin survived his injuries, including chemical burns to his stomach from ingesting toxic substances. Nearly 2 months later, he was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder, armed burglary, and resisting an officer. Austin pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. In a controversial move, Austin granted an interview to a well-known television host, during which his father, Wade, also spoke. Wade attributed his son's actions to untreated mental illness. This public appearance angered the victims' families, who felt disrespected. They criticized the Haroffs for speaking to the media instead of showing proper regard for the victims and their loved ones. Under Florida law, defendants are presumed sane unless they provide clear and convincing evidence of a severe mental breakdown at the time of the crime. Junior and Ivy, however, dismissed the insanity plea as manipulative. They pushed for the death penalty and questioned the national media's fascination with Austin, attributing it to his privileged background. For Junior, the issue was clear. Society struggled to reconcile Austin's clean-cut, affluent appearance with the monstrous actions he had committed. "To me, it's obvious," Junior said. However, the trial was delayed due to legal disputes, Austin's lengthy recovery, and later, the COVID-19 pandemic. What should have been a swift pursuit of justice turned into a drawn-out process, prolonging the pain of the victims' families. During the pre-trial hearings, details about Austin Haroff's history of substance abuse came to light. Medical experts called by the defense testified that Austin had experienced an acute psychotic episode during the night of the crimes. Meanwhile, The prosecution's psychiatrist conducted several interviews with Austin and concluded that the defendant was legally insane at the time of the murders. According to Florida law, legal insanity means an individual cannot distinguish right from wrong, which would support a not guilty verdict by reason of insanity. While the prosecution's findings deeply dissatisfied the victims' families, the defense welcomed the conclusion. On Monday, December 5, 2022, the very day the trial was set to begin, the judge accepted Austin's insanity plea. As a result, Harif was committed to a mental health facility under the supervision of Florida's Department of Children and Families. He was ordered to remain there until deemed no longer a danger to society by both medical professionals and the court. The judge emphasized that Harif could not leave the facility without explicit judicial approval. Had the trial proceeded, Austin likely faced a life sentence, the minimum outcome hoped for by the loved ones of Michelle and John Stevens, as well as their surviving neighbor, Jeffrey Fisher. Understandably, the families expressed their outrage at the ruling, declaring it a miscarriage of justice. Some directed their criticism at the prosecutors, although State Attorney defended his team's efforts. "We did everything within our power to make the case, but the evidence simply wasn't there," he stated. He suggested that the family's frustration was ultimately with the legal system itself, not the prosecution. He admitted that the outcome was unsatisfying and described the case as profoundly tragic, but reiterated the validity of the mental health experts' conclusions. In the months following the decision, Junior found some solace in remembering the simple, cherished moments with his father. He often thought of John preparing his favorite meal, tender steak topped with crab meat and hollandaise sauce. Reflecting on the past, Junior realized how easy it had been to take his father's presence for granted, as many do with their parents, until they're gone. Despite the heartbreak, Junior found peace in knowing he'd had the best father and stepmother anyone could ask for. Though their loss was immeasurable, their memory remained a source of strength and comfort in the face of unimaginable grief. Thanks for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.